welcome back to the channel. I'm going to do a requested trapper guide, or at least, in my opinion, what is best to do with the trapper, what to play with, and how to play. So let's jump right into it. First off, I want to talk about the power, which is pretty straightforward, so I won't read it word by word. Basically, you set a trap, a bear trap. By default, you start with one trap in your hand, and that is all you can have, is just the one. You set the trap as your ability, obviously. If there's already a trap on the ground that is disarmed or, not set, you can stop and set it without picking it up off of the ground first. It saves a little bit of time. And obviously you need to go around on the map and collect these traps one at a time by default, because you can only have one trap in your hand at a time. So that's pretty much his power summed up. Biggest weakness, in my opinion, is that he has to collect the traps off the ground. It's basically, hey, let's start the match. Let's go wander around wasting precious time to gather these traps out of every nook and cranny, every closet to Narnia, everywhere. They can spawn up on a hill or behind a hill or something, somewhere away from where you want to be, and it takes time to go pick that up off the ground. Another weakness, obviously, is the default is you can only have one trap in your hand at a time, meaning you start with one in your hand, you set it, and you're out of traps. You gotta go find one. And finally, the last weakness, in my opinion, which isn't like, busted or anything, but survivors can disarm your traps. If they know they're there, they can walk up to it and disarm it, so making the trap useless by default. So we're going to get into the strengths. His power is amazing at controlling the map. If survivors aren't careful, they step in the trap, they get injured, possibly hooked if you get there in time. You are great at blocking off really good loops, places you know people are going to probably choose over others to waste your time. Like the Killer Shack, for instance, you can put traps around that, and it will stop the normal Killer Shack loop dead in its tracks, as long as they don't know where it's at. And there are a few areas that are obvious, like directly on the outside of windows and right in front of pallets, but hopefully I can show you a few tips for where to put your traps that might help you with that. We're going to go into the perks now. What I think is the best build on the Trapper, obviously we're going to start with Corrupt Intervention. This thing is going to save you a lot of time, because a lot of times the survivors are going to spawn as far from you as possible. Sometimes, actually most of the time, they're going to be grouped up, and this perk makes it so that the gens furthest from you are blocked for 2 minutes at max level. So that's 2 minutes that they cannot do 3 generators that are most likely going to be the ones they spawn next to. That gives you time to set up traps, that gives you time to find them before they can start a gen. It really helps out on the Trapper, because you need to take a little bit of preparation time in the beginning of the match to place these traps in certain areas. Moving on to the next one, I'm going to go ahead and just say Barbecue and Chili. It's your information perk. It's going to give you extra points, which is always lovely, but the information it gives you is what we want. Every time you hook somebody, anybody that is further than 40 meters from that hook is going to be exposed to you for 4 seconds at max level. That's just going to tell you where you need to be, what people are doing, show you that they're healing, show you that they're doing gens, show you that they're self-carrying in a corner, Next is going to be my favorite regression perk so far, which is Pop Goes the Weasel. I'd say you could put Ruin here, but I'm not really into the Ruin Undying meta. Pop is very helpful because it gives you an instant negative 25% progress on any generator that you kick. It has a 45-second cooldown after you've hooked somebody before it goes away. That used to be a minute. I didn't realize they changed that, but still a really good perk in my opinion, because you're going to hook somebody. Hopefully you get into a chase early because of Corrupt. You hook somebody, you find out where they're doing generators, you go to the generator, scare them off of it, knock it back down 25%, and that's a lot of progress lost. A whole fourth of a generator. Yeah, just one of my favorite regression perks. And to finish it off, I always like to bring save the best for last. This perk also helps you in chase. It's basically it's a chase perk, in my opinion. I don't know what else you'd classify it as, but every time you hit somebody that isn't your obsession, you get a stacking token that gives you 5% decreased cooldown after you hit somebody. You know, when you hit a survivor, we've all been there. You hit a survivor, you wipe your blade off, you know, you check it, you maybe spit shine a little bit. They're already long gone by the time you come out of that. But with this perk, you actually get a stacking decrease on that little cooldown after you hit a survivor. So at 8 tokens, you have a 40% decreased time. So that's almost half of the time that you normally wipe your blade off, knocked off, and you can just start chasing immediately after that. So that's gonna catch survivors off guard. That's gonna help you down people faster because you're not standing around wiping your blade off or whatever. And on top of that, people like to body block when you're carrying to the hook sometimes. This perk helps with that too. You're gonna be carrying someone to a hook and someone will body block you trying to get the person wiggled off. You can hit them and you'll recover from that 40% faster if you have the max tokens. You'll recover from it faster than normal and it will most likely not end up having the survivor drop off your shoulder, and on top of that you get the bonus of injuring everybody who tries to get in the way. Very, very helpful. This is my go-to build right here with the perks, and I really enjoy playing the Trapper. Next I'm going to talk about the add-ons. We're just going to get this out of the way right now. You have to bring a bag. I mean, you can play with one trap, but that's going to waste a lot of time because you get one trap, place it, and you have to go find another one. The bag gives you, well, there's 3 different types of bags. Obviously, the purple one's the best. It gives you 2 extra bear traps, meaning you start with 3. And it allows you to transport an extra 2, so if you use up these 3, you can grab another 3 before you can't hold anymore. That is almost, in my opinion, necessary on the Trapper. So the purple one gives you 2, the yellow one gives you 1 extra but lets you carry up to 3, and the brown one gives you 1 extra but lets you only carry an extra 1. So at most you get 2 with the brown, you get 3 with the yellow, but you start with 2, and the purple gives you 3 but you start with 3. So that's all done and talked about. The next, I'm just going to go by level, I think, what I would recommend, or at least I'll talk about them. The iridescent levels, these 2, the bloody coil, it's going to make it so that when survivors disarm your traps and they're healthy, that it will injure them, which is kind of useful if you've got a team that's got an object of obsession or a map and they're following you around, disarming all of your traps, just making your life a living hell. But I don't usually bring this one, because a lot of times you're not going to have this. You're not going to get disarmed every time you turn around. Iridescent stone, however, is another story. I used to think this one was kind of stupid because a lot of times when you're wandering around as the Trapper, you're going after the traps that aren't set. You can see their auras as you walk around, and you're going after the ones that are disarmed so that you can set them somewhere useful. This add-on actually takes 1 trap that is disarmed, and every 30 seconds it will open one randomly. So I used to think this was stupid because I'd see a trap was set, but it would be set off in the corner somewhere where it spawned, and it would just be out of the way and not useful. But this one can actually be very helpful if you say you start with a purple bag, you've already got a bunch of traps. I think you start with a set amount of traps in the map, but say you put a trap in an obvious spot, or even not obvious, and someone disarms it. You don't have to come back to that trap and set it, because after 30 seconds, most likely it's going to get set. So this thing is just pretty much taking every disarmed trap and setting it. Every 30 seconds you get 1. Very, very useful, especially for indoor maps like Hawkins Lab. You can, there's a drop down from the upper floor there, and you can set a trap there, and even if they see it and disarm it, the next time they jump through there, it's most likely going to be set again. So very, very good perk. Going down to the very rare perks, we've got the fastening tools, which are just going to well, the purple ones are the best, obviously. They speed up the time it take, or yeah, they speed up how fast you set the traps. They increase how long it takes to rescue someone from the trap and how long it takes to attempt to escape from the trap. It also reduces the chance of escaping from the trap, meaning the survivor who's in the trap is going to take longer to try to escape and is most likely not going to, or it's going to reduce the chance of them escaping. Pretty good, rounded out. It's got a lot of good things in it. I would recommend this one too. The Honing Stone, another good one in my opinion, but it's kind of iffy whether or not it's going to play out the way you want it to. Basically, it makes it so that if a survivor saves themselves from a trap, they are going to go into the dying state. But if one of their friends pulls them out of the trap, they'll be fine. But that thing can really help you win games. You'll be in a chase and don't know where the last survivor is. They get in that trap, they pull themselves out, they're down. I don't really recommend the other coils because all they do is make it harder to, or make it take longer to disarm bear traps, which I don't really usually waste my time with. Going on to the rares, I don't care about them being mangled. Mangled is just, pretty sure they take a little bit longer to heal, but I don't know. It's like Sloppy Butcher in a trap. Another coil, just increasing the disarm time. I don't care about that. Setting tools, again, it's going to speed up how fast you set the traps, and it's going to make it... This one is missing the reduced chance to escape, but it's got everything else. So, another good one. Tar Bottle. This one is pretty good. I really like it because it's going to make your traps almost black. So they're going to be really hard to see, especially if you got it in grass or in a darker map. It's going to make it really hard to see some of these traps, which will help you get people to step in them. And the Wax Break is just moderately reducing the chance of escaping a bear trap, like this thing does. So I'd recommend it if you had that, but maybe pick one of these. Trapper is really kind of add-on based here. Yellows I don't really recommend using, because obviously you got your disarm time, you got... This is kind of like the Tar Bottle, but it's not going to be as dark. It's still useful if you don't have anything else. This one is just going to give the hemorrhage effect, which is they bleed more. Not super helpful, unless you've got like Bloodhound or something on. And this is just setting time. It makes you set traps faster, so definitely still worth using. Padded Jaws I don't recommend, obviously, because that makes your power, which is already kind of weak, even weaker, because now your traps do not inflict any damage. A trapper or a survivor can step in these traps and not get injured, get out, yada yada yada. Or you can come up and hit them, and that'll get them injured, but then you still gotta chase them. All it does is award double points for trapping people. Then these gloves obviously will speed up setting traps, and you get the brown bags. That is all the add-ons talked about. My personal favorite build is either going to be purple stitched bag with the iridescent stone, the honing stone, or one of these setting tools, so that you can get your traps set and move on much faster. But I think for this video I'm going to go ahead and use kind of a toss-up between these two. I think I'm going to go ahead and use the iridescent stone. And I will see you on the other side. Alright, it looks like we got Lambkin Lane. That is a kind of more survivor-sided map, but we'll see what we can do. Real quick, I want to say who my obsession is. We've got Tabular Line, I think is what the name was. That is going to be Ashley Williams. And also I want to talk about one weakness I forgot to mention, is that the Trapper can step in his own traps, and if he's carrying a survivor, he'll drop them. If he's not, it could still result in wasting time because you get stunned by it. It is what it is. But here we go. So what I'm doing is I don't want to set traps like in doorways, especially since I don't have any dies. I want to set them inside where they have to like turn the corner and it's already too late for them to dodge this. Another good strategy for setting traps is on loops like this. Don't set it in front of the trap. I mean, this one's wonderful. It's got grass all over the place. But normally you don't want to set it in front of the pallet. You want to set it, say, they're probably going to run around this way. So you're going to want to set it somewhere tight along the wall so they hug the wall when they're looping. Hopefully they won't see that. They won't expect it there. They'll step in it. Got my Corrupt Intervention blocking 3 generators. I really don't want to come in this direction, but it could end up being good for me. Who knows? This is where the survivors like to spawn, as farthest from the killer. Basically what I'm doing is just setting up traps. Setting up a perimeter, and the iridescent stone, as you can see, I have not been over here, but this trap is set. Every 30 seconds. I think that was in the ground, I don't know. Just gonna keep moving. Probably should have run into a survivor by now. Here we go. 2 of them. There's our obsession. I don't want to hit him. What I want to do is build stacks off of anybody else. Unless he goes back to that gen, then obviously you want to push him off. I didn't set that trap. That was iridescent stone. And since she's not my obsession, I want to hit her and get another stack of save the best for last. Already got 2. If it had been my obsession, I could have walked up to the trap and pressed the collect trap button to pick her up off of there without doing any damage, without losing my stacks. I'll go ahead and take a hit on him because I guess that'll be a trade out. So obviously you don't want to ignore the obsession if they give you a free down like this. In fact, I'm going to drop him, use my pop to kick this gen. Go ahead and pick him back up. Put him right back down on the hook. I've got another pop. Barbecue tells me there's someone in the basement down the street. I know she ran off kind of in that direction and healed, so I don't think she had a med kit. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just going to come over here and attempt to block that off. Of course, right here, I would normally not set that there, but I'm kind of in a hurry to get... Never mind, he came up. It's going to be another stack. It goes through the house. 1 gen done. I think he went through the side window here too, unfortunately. 2 gens done. And he stepped in the trap. He's not the obsession, so I give him another hit, get my stack back, pick up this trap because he knows where it's at. Most of the time you don't want to reset it where they've stepped in it, but sometimes it can work. Especially if you have iridescent stone. Just gonna vault this. One thing down here is there is a pallet, and I'm assuming they're gonna run out at weird, so maybe I can set a trap out. Yeah, it's not letting me. Guess we found a secret weakness of the trapper there, is that he can't set his traps too close to things they don't want you to. Oh well, we'll be fine without it. I'll go ahead and leave that alone. That's a very open loop. I don't want that. I think that trap out there is maybe not doing anything for me. And I'm just trying to scout out, find somebody. I did not set this trap. I'm gonna pick it up. That'll be my max capacity. Again, we've got a good spot here. I'm gonna set a trap. We've got Nancy. I don't think she saw me put that there. I'll take a free hit on him. Maybe I can get him to step in this trap. Alright, so he's my obsession. I don't want to use... Well, I don't have any stacks, but if I did, I would go ahead and pick him up like this. It's actually faster than smacking them and then picking them up, but those stacks are worth it if you can build them up. Okay, so we've got... Someone else stepped in one. Back in the basement over there. In fact, I'm just going to leave that there. It'll reset itself. I might be able to get there in time, but that's all the way across the map. So, save the best for last will obviously stop working if your obsession dies, and that is going to be his third hook if I catch him again. So I'll try not to do that. We got blood and scratch marks already. Someone left long ago. It's a female, sounds like Nia. I'm gonna pop this gem. See if I can get her up there. Still here. She's self-carrying or something right back here. There you go. You need to be aware of how loud you are as a survivor, especially when you're injured. Very, very easy to hear. I think I want to put her on the main road. Just so that if they do unhook me, they don't immediately heal. They're back on that far gen. That's all I see. Try to race over there, but I didn't kick it before, so it's possibly going to finish before I'm done. Got a trap right here. Alright, that's Nancy. I'm pretty sure my obsession was here. Yeah, he ran that way. And she stepped in my trap. That is just the best feeling in the world, I gotta say. Hit her again, because she's not my obsession. Pick up that trap. Although I probably could have left it. I think I'm gonna drag her out this way. No, I'll put her back on the street like everybody else. See if we can get anybody on the radar. Back in the basement again. Getting a lot of cardio on the trapper this time. Back and forth all the way up and down the street. One gen done. That's probably the one that I kicked just a second ago. I think he's in a locker. He was in a locker. It's on a trap from pretty much the beginning of the map, or beginning of the game. Caught him. That one I probably should have picked up. And I think that's his second hook. So we got someone running, someone down the street. I'm gonna go for the one that I saw close by. And hopefully find them. He has already been unhooked. So I'm gonna turn around immediately. I don't want to give them time to heal. I saw someone sneaking off to the right. That might have been David. It was David. Someone else has gone this way. I don't want to tunnel. Scratch marks ended. So they might have slow vaulted that and gone down. Yeah, they did. Well, that sucks, but I can't waste too much time down here. They only have 2 gens left. Okay. The upstairs gen in this house is going. Got him jumping out. Fortunately, he's my obsession, but I'm gonna hit him. I don't have pop, so I'm not gonna go back to that house. He might use this pallet. He does. Come around. Did not choose to use it. Someone disarmed the trap I heard in the distance. But with iridescent stone, I'm not worried about it. This is gonna be his last hook, so I'm gonna go ahead and tunnel him down. There's that trap. Reset itself. I never did that. Bada bing, bada boom, obsession is dead. It's gonna stick me with 3 stacks of save the best for last permanently. I wish it could have been more, but I gotta start killing some people off. Okay, we got 2 people by the basement. We got a trap upstairs disarmed. They'll reset themselves. More worried about. Okay, so that was probably David. He has experience with that trap. We got the basement trap, or basement gen done, it looks like. Try to catch them coming up. There they both go. I know David's dead. Kinda want to chase him if I can figure out where he went. Okay. There he is. She's injured, she's gonna go heal with medkit or self-care, whatever she was doing. Do not have any traps over here. I also know that that gen my obsession was on is going pretty far. This would have been a good loop to use a trap on if I had come over here. I still have 2, and I could try to use them in chase. He keeps losing me. It's through the back window. Somebody's up there. There's David. Somebody is up here. Nancy was here too. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this trap inside the doorway. Someone's gonna notice it, probably. I'm gonna set it in front of this window. And if I was smart, I would have kicked this generator already. But I can get around that. Go ahead and redress that. Swung early. But that should still be a down. No pallet over here. There we go. If I don't see anybody, I'm going to assume they're either in lockers or they are close by. She's dead. They're across the street. I'm immediately going to move this direction. I'm out of traps. Hopefully I can scare them into the Myers house. Pretty sure they're going to be right here behind this car. I hear them. There's Nancy. There's a pallet in this loop area. Maybe not. I'm just gonna go ahead. She tried to do a dummy tech on me, but didn't work out. I don't know if I've hooked her the death hook yet. We will find out. Just gonna drag her over here where I think would be the best, in a corner. Maybe I'll find David. Yes, I did. He's running back behind this house. I might act like I didn't see him. I don't know. He's probably gonna realize I've got barbecue and chili by now. Burge just got scared, so I know he's at the end of this fence, and he's running the other way. There he is. He's gonna drop that. Shouldn't have swung, but I figured he might jump over it. I was wrong. He's really got nothing here other than this pallet, but I think I make it. I do not. And he can loop me left and right all he wants. But that Nancy is probably going to die. I think he is going to be unlucky. If she... Please turn left. And we win. Okay, so... If Nancy had died on the hook, he might have had a chance to get the hatch, maybe. Always a luck of the draw kind of thing with that. But I was completely in control there with my traps set up. I knew where he was. I knew she was on the hook. No one's doing a generator. It's all about control. You want to pair. I never got to use this trap, but as you saw, a lot of the ones I set up worked out. Several times even with that iridescent stone. And that is how I think Trapper should be played. Very close game. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will see you all in the next one.